Take a look at their lineup. Written out by Dave Roberts with Jock Peterson to lead things off. And then Manny Machado at third base hitting second. Max Muncy's the second baseman. First time he's played there in a couple of weeks. In the middle of the order, Grandal, Kemp, and Bellinger. Taylor's the shortstop. Verdugo's in center. And Rich Hill does the pitching for the second time on this trip. Against 34-year-old Anibal Sanchez, who spent the first 3 weeks of spring training with Minnesota. They released him, signed a minor league deal with the Braves basically just for depth, and he's wound up turning in a really good year so far, been their most consistent starter.
That he has, and you look at the bottom there, his last 3 starts, just 2-0 with a 2.41 ERA, batting average against under 200. This is his 13th start of the year, and if you look at what the Braves have done as a team in those 12 starts prior, they are 8-4, so they've had a lot of success when he is on the mound. And he did beat the Dodgers back in June 9th when he pitched 5 1/3 and only gave up 2 runs on 3 hits.
That was the only win for the Braves in that 3-game series, as the Dodgers took 2 of 3. Jock Peterson stands in, and off we go with strike 1. What a trip Jock Peterson's having. 10 for 18 to open the second half. This 0-1 pitch, he takes it down and away, and it's 1-1. Really, this entire month of July, Jock Peterson's putting together one of the best stretches we've seen in a while for him.
He's just putting on some consistent at-bats, utilizing really the whole field. And it's interesting is, you know, as we look at this Braves defense right now, they're obviously playing them to shift. They had the shortstop Culberson, he actually just moved over to the second base, shortstop side of second base. He was on the second base side. But we saw over the course of the Philly series how that started to change, because he was just hitting that 6 hole on a consistent basis. So they definitely made an adjustment to him.
On this 1-2 from Sanchez, he takes it inside, and it's 2-2. The Dodgers have lost back-to-back games for the first time this month. Still, though, National League best 40 and 20 in their last 60 games. On 2-2. Peterson down swinging. And Sanchez uses the changeup for the first out of the night. Changeup that he's throwing more than ever. The change in the cutter of his career around here in his 13th year. Up comes Manny Machado.
I think Manny Machado is happy to get out of Philly. He had a rough series over there in Philadelphia. He wasn't the only one. You know, Max Muncy was probably feeling the same way. But you turn the page, go back out there. You know there's going to be series like that.
Flies the first pitch that he sees to short right. Ozzie Albies, an all-star, drifts out there and makes the catch. Machado retired on 1 pitch. The Braves had the best record in the National League in early July at a 3.5 game lead in the division, but they've gone 5-10 in their last 15 games. And so one of the questions around here right now is, which team are they? Are they that team that got off to a great start over the first few months? Are they the team that's gone 5-10 the last few weeks, or are they the most likely thing, and that is probably something between the two? Max Muncy takes strike 1.
Obviously, they're raising that question because you have the trade deadline looming, and they're trying to see, okay, where do they feel that they need to make an upgrade or an adjustment?
Ball on a strike on Muncy. Either way, they are way ahead of where anybody thought they'd be at this point. Coming off 3 consecutive 90-loss seasons. Looking change up 1-2. Braves haven't been to the postseason since 2013 when they lost in the division series to the Dodgers. They haven't won a postseason series since 2001. Sanchez looking for a 1-2-3 first. Another 1-2 to Muncy. Took this change up, down and away, and it evens at 2-2. You talked about that game at Dodger Stadium for Sanchez in early June. Really the only blemish in that one for him was a Muncy homer. One of his 24 this year to lead the club. Yanks a line drive to second, caught by Albies. And that's a 1-2-3 first inning for Anibal Sanchez. Here comes Rich Hill trying to build off of a good start to open the second half. His first pitch of the night on the other side of this break. The first time tonight. Here's their lineup with Ronald Acuna Jr. to lead things off. Then Ozzie Albies and Freddie Freeman. Nick Markakis, 3 straight All-Stars, 2 through 4 in that order. Kurt Suzuki's the catcher. The old Dodger Charlie Culberson at short. Camargo at third, and Ender Inciarte, who was an All-Star a year ago, out of the 8th spot. Rich Hill Friday in Milwaukee, just 1 run over 6 innings, and really, it's been a continuation of a very good couple of months for him.
Yeah, especially since coming off the DL with the blister issues in his last 7 appearances. And of those 7, there were 6 starts in there. He came 1 time out of the bullpen. He's got 2-2 with just a ERA just under 3. Really, the key for him has been able to reduce the home runs compared to his first 6 starts. First 6 appearances this season, he gave up 7 home runs in those 6, only 4 in the next 6 appearances. And really, when he doesn't give up a home run, his record, he has a winning record. He's 3-0. When he does give up a home run, well, his record ends up being 0-4.
Here's 1-1 is hit on the ground foul, 1-2. And starting pitching has been so good really across the board the last month or 2. So this was an outlier this week in Philadelphia when starters gave up 14 runs in their 16 innings worked. Walker Buehler struggling yesterday. Like you talked about during the pregame show, really it came down to a few big innings in those 3 games. To chopper to third for Manny Machado. Just in time at first with Acuna busting up the line, 1 gone.
Acuna getting down the line, making it close. Sometimes you look at the scouting report, it tells you fast on the bases, has some speed, but if you haven't played that team or really seen it, it's hard for your natural baseball clock, you know, because your natural baseball clock says, sees that ball, you know how to get around it, you know the time you usually have, then all of a sudden you throw it like, ooh, I may have to either start a step in or remind myself to be a little quicker next time he's up.
1 ball, no strikes on Ozzie Albies, who flips one down the right field line. Slicing away from Kemp. And a nice catch down there. And he high-fives Kemp. What a good start to his night.
got the support of Kemp. Speaking of Acuna getting down the line, here's another one who can get down the line in Ozzie Albies.
On a 1-1 pitch, that curves in for a strike, 1 and 2, and really it's up and down the order, Nomar. This is an exciting young team. Second in the National League in runs per game at just a touch under 5. Very aggressive. Have the highest swing percentage in the National League. And a lot of times you see that, you know, teams are free swinging and there's a lot of strikeouts that come with that. But not only do they lead the league in swing percentage, they also make contact more than anybody in the league, and so they can put that excitement on display. They can use that speed. In this case, Rich Hill sits down Albies with a fastball and 2 out. And now to a couple of veterans and a couple of all-stars in Freddie Freeman and Nick Markakis in this part of the order. In the case of Markakis, it's been a bounce-back season, really out of the middle of nowhere, the best year of his career. All-star game for the first time, and Freeman putting together an MVP caliber year.
Yeah, we were talking about this offense, talking about the excitement they have at the top, the speed, these guys putting the ball in play, and then you have some veteran hitters in the middle of it to drive the guys at the top in. But when you also just look, you know, here they are battling for the division. They have guys that are at the top of offensive categories, from hits, batting average, multiple game hits, RBIs.
Freeman hits a ground ball with Max Muncy positioned well. A low throw, but it's dug out by Bellinger. And both pitchers execute 1, 2, 3 first innings. Off and rolling in Atlanta, and no score. Joe, Nomar, and Alana with you from Atlanta. Anibal Sanchez back to work with the Yasmani Grandal leading off the inning and taking ball 1. Grandal in the month of July leading baseball in on-base percentage. He takes a strike, 1-1.
Over half the time he's getting on base.
Yeah.
520, 524 on base percentage. That's pretty good. Gonna go on a limb. Captain Obvious over here.
So just to give it a little more perspective, league average is around 320. Elite is 400, and he's at 524 this month. He's also top 3 in average and slugging this month too. Homered 3 times in Philadelphia, including that 2 home run game in Game 2, where he hit one from both sides of the plate. Here on a 2-2, He watches it tail almost back to the corner, but instead a full count.
Anibal Sanchez thought he got the corner. Pitch cast showed that it was a little in.
Good take from Grandal on a leadoff walk. First base runner of the game for the Dodgers, and here comes Matt Kemp. And really not much of a reaction from the Atlanta crowd. We've kind of wondered what it would be like after a year and a half here.
Yeah, they just were like, okay.
Yeah.
I think they're still eating their hot dogs.
Strike one.
Or maybe they just said, well, it was nice of him. He high-fived a fan on a good catch down the line.
Yeah.
They were asking Dave Roberts about what the reaction might be. He goes, well, let's say it might be in between for Chase Utley, like what he got in Philly or New York, somewhere in there.
Somewhere in the middle. Those are the two polar ends. It's out in front here, 1-2, and we check in with Alana.
And when Matt Kemp was asked what he thought the reaction of the fans would be, he said not quite as great as Chase Utley, but Matt Kemp certainly, as we showed you guys in the opens, played much better as a Dodger than he did as a Brave, but still has a lot of friends over here. Was making a lot of time earlier today talking to the Braves when they were taking BP.
It's one of the hold it short, picked up by Culberson, feeds Albies, who whips it to first for a double play. Oh, 6-4-3 wipes him clean. And brings up Cody Bellinger. One ball, no strikes. Bellinger on this road trip, 5 for 23. Came off of the bench in the finale in Philly yesterday. On this 1-1 pitch, Bellinger takes it low, 2-1. Down the left field line and foul, and it's 2-2. Sanchez second start of the second half. Opened the second half for the Braves in Washington last Friday night. Wasn't particularly sharp. He gave up 6 hits, 3 walks, but held the Nationals to 3 runs and went 6 innings. It's gone full on Bellinger. Who would have thought that it would be Anibal Sanchez who would be the best, at least most consistent Brave starter? 2.76 ERA for the 34-year-old. Who's home with a payoff. Bellinger down on strikes. And Sanchez, despite the leadoff walk, faces the minimum in the second.
MLB At Bat is your #1 Dodgers app. Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Get Dodgers home screen icons and features such as MLB.TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcasts, stats, news, and more. Download MLB At Bat today.
Bottom 2, no score. And a couple veterans facing off to open this inning. 34-year-old Nick Markakis, first-time All-Star in his 13th Major League season. He's the longest-serving player, Nomar, to reach his first All-Star game.
I had a hard time believing that that was his first. When they were saying it's his first, I was like, I thought he made at least one of those, you know, or at least had another one. Maybe I was like, okay, second, but it was like first one.
More than 2,000 hits.
Because sometimes he's one of those guys that have kind of flown under the radar and just put up solid seasons.
Waits on this one, flips a fly ball to his old teammate right, Matt Kemp, for the first out of the second. He had the 9 years in Baltimore. He was always so steady. And now in the final year of a 4-year contract here in Atlanta, comes in leading the National League in hits. 4 up, 4 down for Rich Hill. And the catcher, Kurt Suzuki. Who had a career year last year in what was his first year in Atlanta. It hasn't been able to match those numbers here in his 12th big league year. Pops up the first one that he sees, and it will reach the seats. 0-1. College teammate of Justin Turner's. Won a College World Series together in 2004 at Cal State Fullerton. Suzuki was the captain of that team. 1 ball and 1 strike. Not just the team captain, but he had the game-winning RBI single in the clinching game against Texas. The back door, 1-2.
And he's one of the good guys in the game. Really just get to know Kurt. I was fortunate enough. We were teammates and when I played in Oakland. And when he was young, wasn't the veteran he is now, but he was just always just wanting to learn, asking questions. So into the game, so respectful of the veteran guys. Really just a great teammate.
Born and raised in Hawaii, Maui. Two-two. A bullet to left, base hit. First one of the game for the Braves comes from Suzuki. And as Charlie Culberson comes to the plate, we throw it down to Alana.
Guys, Charlie Culberson was involved in the trade that brought Matt Kemp back to Los Angeles. We know what Matt Kemp has done for Los Angeles, but Charlie Culberson has been just as valuable, some might argue, for Atlanta. He went 10 for 19 with a homer and 6 RBIs in 4 games, filling in for Ozzie Albies at second base. He's slashing .318, .359, .522 in 52 games since the start of May in that super utility role that the Dodgers know so well.
Takes ball 1 low and away. It's one of those things, Nomar, one of those rare trades where so far you think both sides are probably really happy with it.
I can see it, especially what Charlie Culberson has done this year. And I'm sure the Braves were thinking they'd get a little bit more out of some of the other guys that were involved in that trade. But guys being injured, Brandon McCarthy on the DL, one of them. But the Dodgers know and understand what Matt Kemp has definitely meant to their season and what he has done. Just an amazing season so far.
That's chopper to third. Machado across his body to second, 1. They won't get Culberson at first. 2 gone. And it's a lot like Suzuki, one of the good guys, right?
Yeah.
You root for Charlie to do well.
You saw a lot during batting practice. We saw a lot of guys going over there, giving him hugs, talking to Charlie. His funny, even when Grandal in that last inning slid in the second, he was kind of looking back, smiling at him, you know, kind of joking with him.
Here's Johan Camargo looking at strike one. And Charlie's a Georgia native. He's from Rome, Georgia. Grew up going to games at Turner Field. Once got a Chipper Jones autograph as a kid. When he was a freshman in high school, one of his big thrills was getting to meet Jeff Francoeur. So all that is to say, this has been a really special thing for him to be able to come home and play for the team that he grew up watching. A ball and a strike.
I can tell you from experience, it is a great feeling. It's a great feeling when you get to go out there and you're playing, putting on that uniform, especially the team that you grew up watching, dreaming as a kid. Say, wonder what it's like down there field. Wonder if I'd ever able to find out. And then now when you finally are on that field, then looking up at family in the stands, you know, where they're sitting, and on a daily basis being able to look up just brings such a great smile to your face.
Camargo down on a fastball, and Rich Hill with his second K over the first 2 innings. We've played 2, no score. And Braves playing 4 this weekend here in Atlanta. Second year of this ballpark. Moving over from Turner Field. Chris Taylor to lead this inning off for the Dodgers. Anibal Sanchez delivers. Strike one. You know, it's the shortest stay in Major League history in Turner Field for any team in a actual steel concrete stadium. Shortest that any team had stayed in one place.
Gotcha. When you first said it, I was like, what do you mean stay? But I see what you're saying. The amount of years that they actually played in that one stadium.
20 years. Open in '97 for baseball. Taylor hits it hard, and it's off Culberson at short. He'll be aboard to open this third. See how they rule it. It is a base hit in the first of the night for the Dodgers.
Well, CT hit a rocket here. Stays on that ball, just drives it. Eats up Culberson. That's one of those where if Culberson comes up with it, you're talking about what a great play, what a good job throwing the hands. You can understand how it can eat up an infielder when you hit a rocket like that.
Scoreless third inning. Man at first for Alex Verdugo. Takes a strike. Alex Alex had a good day yesterday. A couple of hits, including a double in his first couple of hits since getting called back up. That's a fly ball to right center field. Markakis moves over. He's got it. Taylor tags and holds. You know, the ball was really flying out of here, Nomar, the first month and a half or 2 months that this park was open last year. It's gone all the way to the other end of the spectrum this year, though, to the point where this park gives up fewer homers than any other in baseball.
Yeah, I mean, Atlanta used to be known as a launching pad whenever they were playing, you know, Fulton County. Turner Field, when they went there, it was a big park. That one wasn't the same launching pad like it was at Fulton County.
Rich Hill lays down a bunt. Freeman will go to second to get the lead runner. Heck of a play by Freddie Freeman. 2 out.
And then when they opened this one up, they were talking about, oh, they brought it back just like Fulton County. The ball is going to fly. You're going to have a lot of players, home players excited to hear, players coming in. And all of a sudden that has changed as we have another look at how Freeman gets to that ball and spins around and makes a perfect throw to second base.
Second time through the order coming here, Jack Peterson with 2 out in a scoreless 3rd inning.
And I guarantee you the players are going, what changed, and is there any way to change it back like back in those 2 months? At least the hitters are, not necessarily the pitchers, but the hitters are asking for that.
That's fouled and strike 1. Matt Kemp was talking about first couple of months here as a Brave, how there was seemingly nightly like a jet stream out towards right center, which for him is kind of a nitro zone when he's right. There's some theories that the buildings that have gone up beyond the right field wall and beyond the right center field wall have affected the way the ball is flying. 1-1.
Well, they can't change it back then, what I was asking.
I mean, they could, but it would be a big waste of money, wouldn't it?
If that changed everything, I guess they're staying, so got to figure out something else. Goes back what I talk about. Well, if they're putting the baseball in the humidor to keep balls in ballparks, well, they're not flying out in a place like this. Let them cork the bat or change something else up.
Or the Omni Hotel's got to find a new location. 2-1. Beautiful building, but the people want dingers. Anibal Sanchez not complaining about it. This is a guy who the last 3 years, Nomar, had the worst earned run average in baseball. And a big part of the reason why, he was giving up about 30 homers per year. He's only given up 9 this year.
Long ball has definitely made a difference. I mean, when you just look at just from 1 year, you talk about that ERA.
Peterson drives this one on a line to left center field for Inciarte. And we'll keep talking about Sanchez as this night goes on. But all about the pitchers so far. To the bottom of the 3rd, no score.
Tomorrow on the all-new Backstage Dodgers, take an all-access look at an exciting MLB All-Star Week for the Dodgers that started with a fun performance from a breakout star and ended with news of a blockbuster trade. Don't miss Backstage Dodgers presented by Cadillac. Tomorrow after the postgame show on Sportsnet LA.
Bottom three, no score. Your first trip to SunTrust Park. What are your early thoughts of it?
It's a beautiful ballpark. I really like new stadiums. Even when as I was playing, it was always, new stadiums are always just kind of looking around. It was nice, the vibe of it. This has a very good feel to it. It's one that you would look forward to coming to and playing. It's just, from what I hear too, the players are talking about the amenities, the locker rooms, big, huge, nice, everything they need right there. That's always nice. That makes a difference. Feeling comfortable there. It is a beautiful park.
And they're really drawn well lately. When the Dodgers were here last August, there was hardly anybody here with the Braves well out of contention. Enter Inciarte, take strike one from Rich Hill. Broke ground in September of 2014 and opened it up in April of last year. Curve, and it's 0-2. Well, Inciarte was an all-star last year, but he's having a hard time replicating those numbers. He hit .304, homered 11 times. The average below 250 right now. Stays alive. Is hitting leadoff. Brian Snitker, their manager, dropped him to the bottom part of the order to start the second half. And the Braves are hoping that he does something that he's done throughout his career, and that is put up much better second halves than prior to the All-Star break. Waits on a curve and sends it to right. Matt Kemp. Soft contact from Hill for the first out of the third. Here's the pitcher, Sanchez. And there's strike one. Did you happen to see how the Diamondbacks lost today?
I missed that one.
They were up 6-1 in Chicago. The Cubs came back and won it on an Anthony Rizzo homer.
So the Dodger fans are happy to hear that. Not that they're cheering for Chicago, but they're going, listen, okay. However the D-backs lose, that's great.
2 out on Hill's third K. Yeah, so the lead in the division back to a full game. Back to the top of the order in Acuna Jr. You're right, though. Dodgers-Cubs has turned into a really special rivalry lately.
It turns into that when you have two teams on an annual basis competing at the top of their divisions and then meeting in the postseason.
Back-to-back years.
Yep.
Splitting those two meetings.
And then, yes, and having meetings during the season where you're having some exciting close games, not one-sided.
Ball on a strike. Two on one.
You were talking about how Inciarte was leading off and they made a switch. Well, Acuna was the 20th at Washington this month when he started batting leadoff. And it's the first time in his career to bat leadoff, and all he's done coming into this game is 8 for 16 in the leadoff spot, batting .500, on base percentage .600, scores about 6 runs. He's going to be there for a little bit.
Yeah, looks like a pretty good move.
Yeah, right now they're like, and I'll tell you, it also helps Inciarte. And I mean, instead of taking it as a demotion and going, all right, we have now and then your guy the leadoff is still struggling, and you feel like, well, since I'm not helping, I'm really hurting the team. We don't have anybody to fill in. Somebody's filling in. Now he can get back on track.
Hill comes back to strike Acuna out. His fourth punch out over 3 scoreless innings. To the middle innings, no score.
Dodgers, and now it's time for Built for Baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. Andre Ethier spent his entire 12-year Major League career in a Los Angeles Dodgers uniform, has decided to hang it up. Andre Ethier announcing recently that he will retire from Major League Baseball, and the Los Angeles Dodgers will be honoring him in a retirement ceremony this Friday, August 3rd, at before the 7:10 p.m. game in front of the Houston Astros, which will be interesting because you know it's going to be a packed house, you guys. But Andre Ethier being honored by the team he spent his entire 12-year career with.
All right, Alana. Here's Manny Machado to over the fourth, takes ball 1. And like Kurt Suzuki, you were around for Andre Ethier's early years.
He started in 2006. That was his rookie year. We were teammates. We also worked out together too in the off season, so I knew him there as well. And quite a career. I mean, spent 12 years in the big leagues, all with one team, 8 postseasons in those 12 years.
Wow. Machado corks it foul, 2-1.
So you get a lot of guys, a lot of great players who are just looking to play in the postseason, understanding what that's like. You never take it for granted, and I know Andre didn't. Be able to get 8 in those 12 years.
Two and two, and even in recent years when he was dealing with injuries, he found a way to contribute when October came around. Fan favorite over the last decade or so. Machado starting the fourth. Barely get a piece to stay alive. And he popped out in the first pitch that he saw. Well, this has been a bit of a slump over the last few days. Man, he really enjoying his time with the Dodgers so far. Said it's hard to put into words how kind of reinvigorating it is to go from a last place team to a first place team where each pitch matters. That's on the inside corner to get him for the first out of the fourth. But he didn't just go from a middle of the pack team to a good team. He went from a team on pace to lose 110 games to a first place team.
Yeah, that can definitely rejuvenate you. Can definitely give you a kickstart. Second win starting in the second half of the season. Speaking of getting to the postseason and wanting to do that and experience that.
One gone for Max Muncy, who takes ball 1. Hit it hard his first time, but right at the second baseman. On this 1-0, it's inside, ball 2.
What really helps too, Manny will see, is those dog days we talk about. When you're contending, it makes it easier to get through those dog days. Dog days, when you go through August of the season, your body, it's just that, I always call it, it was that transition where your body just started going, using the adrenaline to get through the rest of the season. There was so much fatigue that's hitting there.
Ground ball, that's fair. Freeman's got it, 2 gone.
So you use that adrenaline, but when you're contending, it's added adrenaline on every game. And then even the fans feel like, because they know here's the team, after watching it for so long, over 4 months, they go, this team's going to be contending, so they have the energy, and you feed off that as well. Compared to a team when you go into August and you know you're out of it and you don't have a chance, then it's truly the dog days and a grind.
With 2 out, here's Grandal. No score in the 4th. Yeah, to show up when it's 100 degrees and the game and the standings doesn't matter.
I mean, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you don't play hard, you're not going out there and respecting the game and doing that. I'm just saying obviously your body is just natural. You're fatigued, you're tired, but you still play, you go out there and you're going to give everything that you have that day. But there's just an extra level when you know you're contending, and like I said, it's in the air and everybody is expecting so much of each other because you all have the same goal in mind and you know you're close to achieving that goal.
The 1-2, Grandal. It's a fly ball to right field. Playable for Nick Markakis. And that is 4 shutout innings for Anibal Sanchez. To the bottom of the 4th we go in Atlanta.
The 2017 season was memorable for All-Star pitcher Alex Wood, and now you can add him to your Dodger bobblehead collection. On July 31st, when the Dodgers host the Milwaukee Brewers at 7:10, the first 40,000 fans will receive an Alex Wood bobblehead, presented by Emirates. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions.
Former Brave Alex Wood. No score in this one, to the bottom of the 4th. Wood due to pitch on Saturday night here. As the Albies popping the first pitch up from Rich Hill. That will reach the seats for strike 1. Albies 21 years old in his first major league season, and he's an all-star. Came back from the all-star game, and in his first game back against Washington Friday night, injured his hamstring. So he's been out for the last week. 5'7", 165 pounds. But among the leaders in a bunch of power categories.
Well, I just look at where he ranks in the NL. Comes into today. In doubles, he's tied for second with 30. Extra base hits, tied for second with 53. Runs, he's tied for second with 75. Total bases, second once again with 211. He's got multi-hit games. He's third in the NL. He's fifth with hits and eighth. So he's in the top 10. He's eighth in home runs with 20. He's in the top 10 of all these categories on the offensive side in the NL. Why he was an all-star? But also just having a great year.
He's out of Curacao. Part of the reason that he signed with the Braves was their history of signing players from there. Andrew Jones was from Curacao. Hill gets him swinging for the first out of the fourth. Andrelton Simmons started his career here, another Curacao guy.
Rich Hill gets him with the breaking ball. Curveball, he's been utilizing all of his pitches like we come to expect. The key, we always say, for Rich Hill, like most pitchers, it's about having the command.
First one to Freddie Freeman. Popped up foul, strike one. You know, there is no clear-cut front runner for MVP in the National League. You look in the American League, you have Mike Trout and Mookie Betts and JD Martinez probably out ahead in that discussion. But in the National League, you're seeing a couple of the candidates in this series. And the man at the plate in Freeman, the man that's hit out in front of in Matt Kemp. A one-out single for Freeman. Vegas has Freddie Freeman as the favorite coming out of the All-Star break to win the MVP. But a very complete player they have in their first baseman.
Vegas, what do they know?
They get it right a lot.
They do. But no, I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, there are two good candidates here playing in this series. And Freddie Freeman is one of those guys who just all around just solid. I mean, tough out, productive. And Dodger fans get to see Matt Kemp doing the exact same thing on a regular basis. I don't know how Freddie Freeman got that hit there where it ended up falling right in between Max Muncy and Matt Kemp, who were really close to each other because of where Max Muncy was playing in shallow right field for the shift.
Markakis flies it to right. Matt Kemp. That's the second time Markakis has done that. You know, you're right. The hit that Freeman had, that's a hit. A left-handed hitter hitting a line drive to right that has disappeared in baseball with the proliferation of the shift.
Yeah, there's a lot of hits that seem to have disappeared in baseball because of the shift. Have a look. This was really interesting because it wasn't like that just rocket of a line drive. It was almost like he just placed it in between those guys.
Little tennis drop shot.
Yes. You're just going, yep, that's in.
Two gone for Suzuki. Ties him up. That's 8 consecutive first pitch strikes for Rich Hill.
I've been looking at this game so far and how effective both pitchers have been. That's what they've been able to do. They've been able to get first pitch strikes. They've been able to get ahead of hitters. They've been working the corners really well, mixing up their pitches, not setting on any pattern.
Kind of similar paths for the two of them, who had success earlier in their careers and then had stretches where they struggled, talking about Sanchez and Hill, but then reinvented themselves and finding success again. Ground ball to third from Machado. He'll go to second. And the inning is over. Already through 4 in Atlanta. Still no score. California BMW Centers. Hurry in today for the BMW Summer On Sales event for exceptional offers. Details at SoCalBMW.com. And by Carl's Jr. Back in Atlanta, no score. Joe Davis, Nomar Garciaparra, and Alana Rizzo. And it's Matt Kemp to lead this 5th inning off. Been all about the pitchers so far. Rich Hill for the Dodgers and Anibal Sanchez for the Braves. That is strike one, which has been the theme.
It has. I mean, both these guys, it's not like they're coming at you with just overpowering fastball. Annabelle 91 mile an hour. Rich Hill around the same thing, but their command and their movement. Annabelle doesn't throw anything straight. It's sinking to that fastball. He's throwing the cutter, keeping it out of the middle of the plate.
Yeah, it's the least that he's ever thrown his traditional 4-seam fastball. Change up more than ever. Cutter more valuable than ever. That's the cutter right there, and it's fouled off 2-2. The cutter, by one measure, is the most valuable cutter in baseball.
What measure?
You don't want to get into that. I know you. Full count.
Well, I'll tell you, you ask him and say, how valuable has your cutter been? And I guarantee you, he's like, have you seen the difference in my ERA? Have you seen the difference? Have you seen how successful I have been?
Loses Kemp. Leadoff man on for the Dodgers in the 5th.
When I'm talking about that difference in ERA, we're talking about just from 2017 to 2018. It's a difference of a 3.65. That is huge.
Yeah, last year he was demoted to the bullpen for the first time in his career in Detroit. 7 years with the Marlins, 6 years with the Tigers. You get strike one on Bellinger, and that includes 2013. Anibal Sanchez won an ERA title in the American League. 2014, he was still above average. But the last 3 years, a 5.67 earned run average, dead last in baseball. So the Braves took a huge flyer on him. Really just looked at him as depth for the organization. He's ahead of Bellinger 0-2. One and two. Kemp and Freeman became good buddies over the last couple of years. Bellinger taps it off the end of the bat to short. Culberson's only play is to first, and the throw gets into the dugout. So the Dodgers are at second and third with nobody out. There's a chance he was going to beat that out even on a good throw, but with a wild throw, that moves two runners into scoring position.
Well, we know the speed of Cody Bellinger. He gets down the line, especially from the left side. And Culberson made the right play. He didn't really have a play at second base, especially out in front of second when he fielded that. So, and he knows Cody gets down the line. So it's him rushing is what caused that bad throw.
And it is ruled a base hit with an error. So first opportunity really for either team tonight. Second and third, nobody out. And Chris Taylor pops the first pitch foul.
And first at bat for the Dodgers with a runner in scoring position.
Yeah, for either team. The Chills only giving up 2 base runners. Neither one advancing past first. They've pretty consistently hit for power this season, but they've been inconsistent with men in scoring position. Taylor trying to come through in the 5th, but he's behind 0-2. Philadelphia, they were 3 for 20 with runners in scoring position in those 3 games.
You know, and right now, looking at this at bat with Chris Taylor, talking about runners in scoring position, yeah, this isn't about thinking about just got to get a base hit anyway. Should be thinking about going the other way, driving it to the right side. You got the second baseman back, moving the runner over. That's what we're looking for right there. That's what I'm talking about. You still get the RBI, and now there's still 1 out for the next batter for a possible sac fly. That's exactly what you're just looking to do. That's a productive at bat, productive out by Chris Taylor.
And a run for the Dodgers. First of the game, 1-0 in the 5th.
You know, this one he actually just kind of went out there and got it. It was actually better than the swings he had when he had less than 2 strikes. When he had less than 2 strikes, it looked like he was pulling off and was looking to pull the ball when he should have been looking to go the other way. That one with 2 strikes, great adjustment to stay on it, and something good happens.
Infield comes in for Verdugo with a pitcher Rich Hill on deck. He muscles the first pitch into short left. RBI hit for Alex Verdugo. And the Dodgers lead at 2-0.
Wasn't hit very hard. Was able to get it out there. Good placement. But I give that one too. That hit and that run is also Chris Taylor's. That's Chris Taylor's run. It's amazing. It's an out. We're talking about CT3 who made an out, but it got 2 runs because the defense would be back now, and they could probably, shortstop probably catches that ball, or the third baseman. But no, since they played in because he did his job and moved him over, and they had to come in with a man on third, it falls in.
And if you want to go even a step before that, you pointed out Cody Bellinger's hustle forcing the errant throw. Strike 1 on Hill. Bunted foul, 0-2. Lays this one down and advances Verdugo into scoring position. So Hill able to get the job done with 2 strikes and get Jock Peterson to the plate here in the 5th. Love it. The organist here playing Young Jock. Jock's 0 for 2 in this one. Strike out in the first and then crushed the line drive his second time, but it was flagged down in center by Inciarte. Ball one. Peterson gets under it. Long way to go for Charlie Culberson, who is playing up the middle. He's there. And that's that for the Dodgers in the fifth. But they break through with a pair against Sanchez. Halfway home in Atlanta. Finish. Rich Hill, fantastic through 4 scoreless innings.
Rich Hill really been mixing up all of his pitches, having good command with the fastball. He's been throwing it up in the zone. He's been hitting the corners, and then he's been mixing up his curveball. It's just really vintage Rich Hill that we've seen when he's actually very successful out there on the hill.
Charlie Culberson leads off this 5th inning against him and takes ball one. Charlie grounded into a fielder's choice his first time up there. And on this 1-0 pitch, takes ball two. Of course, his most famous moment as a Dodger, that division clinching home run, Vin Scully's final game at Dodger Stadium. Mark Langell, the Dodger historian, has called that the most important regular season home run in franchise history.
Well, I think a lot of it not only has to do with it that it ended up clinching the division for the Dodgers, but it's also on Vin Scully's last home game at Dodger Stadium, and he gets to call a walk-off home run.
Charlie had Vin sign the bat that he hit the walk-off home run with. Vin signed "God bless Charlie" and then put a signature under that. Ground ball in the hole at short. Chris Taylor, long throw but a good one, and Culberson the first out of the 5th.
Charlie Culberson's a smart man to get Vin Scully to sign that bat.
One out in the 5th inning, and here's Johan Camargo. 24-year-old in his second big league season. The first pitch from Rich Hill. He takes high, ball one. Camargo's out of Panama. Never was a big prospect. Was always undersized. Over the last year or two, he shortened his swing. He changed his body, filled out some as he got older. Also worked hard in the weight room, got stronger. And they keep talking around here about, are they going to go acquire a third baseman? Who's going to be the long-term third baseman? And it seems like every time those conversations pick up, Camargo puts together a good stretch as if to say, hey, I'm standing right here. This is now a year and a half in the majors where he's been a very productive player. Bounces one past the mound that'll sneak through for a one-out single.
Well, he did exactly that. I'm still here, getting this break ball stain on it, recognizing that a lot of times where that ball started, we had a great angle there. Started off the play ball, but instead of just giving up on it, staying on it and not pulling off of it. That was, you just talked about him shortening up his swing. That was the short swing to the ball and taking it back up the middle.
So he's aboard with one gone here in a 2-0 game, and Ender Inciarte hacks the first pitch foul. You're talking about Inciarte getting off to this good start in the second half after the very bad first half. Saturday in Washington, their game was canceled because of rain. But Inciarte stayed around the park and worked at length with a hitting coach. Followed that with back-to-back 3-hit performances.
And we talked about him moving down in the lineup, and I've said this numerous times. When they do that, sometimes having just less at bats, they're trying to get guys that confidence back when they step into the batter's box. And not only that, the work has. Then you can go out there, you can have a game. Maybe you're 1 for 3. You only get 3 at bats if you're hitting down the lineup, or maybe you get 4, but you work a walk, and especially in the 8th spot. Maybe you get a walk because they want to pitch to the pitcher instead. Now all of a sudden you get that one hit. Now it's either 1 for 2 or 1 for 3 with a walk. Compared to being in the leadoff, you get that one hit. You know, well, now it's 1 for 5. It is a totally different mental feeling when you leave the ballpark.
1-2. Inciarte into short right field, and an easy play for Max Muncy. Trade deadline just a few days away, and it is being reported that the Cubs have a deal in place to acquire Cole Hamels.
How many teams would this be for Cole Hamels? He is the 4th, 3rd team for Cole Hamels. 3rd team if they goes over there.
Yep.
The reason I was thinking it was so much more than that, because he's always being talked about when come trade deadline, right? Somebody's going to acquire Cole Hamels.
Phillies to the Rangers a few years back, when his final start with the Phillies was a no-hitter against the Cubs. It sounds like now he's going to find himself with the Cubs. No balls and 2 strikes on Sanchez. Cubs rotation that figured to be one of the best in the National League has been one of the worst they've ever had. That's strike 3, and that's that in the 5th. Rich Hill putting up 5 zeros and a 2-0 lead to the 6th. Baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Try the $4.99 Jack Spicy Chicken Club Combo with toasted sourdough. New from Jack in the Box. 6th inning in Atlanta, and we go down to Alana.
Just talking about the speculation of Cole Hamels going to the Chicago Cubs. I asked several players earlier today how much they're following all of the trade rumors. Justin Turner said everybody nowadays has Twitter, so to say you don't pay attention is probably a lie. So much going on with rumors and names going here or there. You definitely pay attention. Matt Kemp, a bit of an opposite approach, said we try not to pay attention because it's out of our control. Whatever happens, happens. Everything is a rumor. People speculating. Kike Hernandez, who's been involved in a couple of trades himself, he said definitely nerve-wracking for those who have their name out there. I know for a fact I've been traded twice. It's a weird feeling. You think you're going to be with an organization for a long time, and sometimes you're only there for 2 months, sometimes 10 minutes. He said he remembered texting with Andrew Heaney being excited, then 10 minutes later he got swapped to the Angels. He said it's a pretty crazy week.
Manny Machado knows a little something about that. It was a crazy lead up for him through the All-Star break before the deal finally went down. He knew that it would happen at some point. He leads off this 6th against Sanchez, and it's a rocket to left center field. Manny Machado's first home run as a Dodger. His 25th of the season, and the Dodgers lead it 3-0.
Talking about coming into this game, he's reached base safely in a career best 25 consecutive games, hitting about 344 in those games. Well, he extends that streak in a big way. First home run as a Dodger.
You knew it was only a matter of time for a guy who was top 10 in the American League in homers, and this thing got out in a hurry.
Well, wanting this ball away, misses his spots. One thing we haven't seen
he leads off
these pitchers do much is miss their spot. For Sanchez, that came over the middle of the plate, and Machado did not miss it.
Now it's Muncy rolling one off of the hands. And at second, Albies throws him out. Was that reaction down there, Alana?
Well, it was really great, as you might imagine. Dave Roberts, the coaching staff, and Machado's teammates waiting for him at the dugout steps on that round tripper, the first one as a Dodger, 24 this year. Before that one, Dave Roberts already asking a clubby to go hunt that ball down in the stands. They want to make sure Machado gets it.
Awesome. He's going to have quite a collection of baseballs when his career is all said and done. Grandal with one out. It's one off of Sanchez, and this will be an infield single. Hope that Sanchez is okay. Normally you see the training staff bust right out, even if he says no.
Looks like he said he was okay. That ball, one thing, it wasn't hit
Grandal
really hard. It's almost one of those
it's
that
one
just kind
off of Sanchez.
Sounded like it was off his
and this
bat.
will be an
off the end
infield
of his
single.
bat. I don't know if it got the heel of his glove. I couldn't tell where that hit him.
No.
So it was just because I don't know if it sounded like he might have broke his bat, which is a good thing because I don't want to see the. I think if it would have just been squared up perfectly, it really would have been scary. Good thing he's okay. And if you're Grandal, you're like, good thing I got a hit.
One on, one out. Kemp swings and misses. So the Dodgers 3 runs over the last 2 innings. That matches their total from the previous 23 innings. 1 ball and 1 strike. Talk about it all the time. The ebbs and flows of a season, even during a road trip, even within one trip, the ups and downs of it. Put it all together, they're among the leaders in many categories offensively. That one caught the corner, 1 and 2 on Kemp. Grounded into a double play and walked. Slaps one back to the mound, and he has grounded into another double play. Are they saying that there was no tag of the bag by Albies? Grandal continues to stand there.
Well, Grandal's staying there. And I think that's also letting him just check to make sure, because he was called out. Second base umpire Jeff Kellogg did call him out, but I think Grandal thinks differently, but I'm sure they'll have a look.
Both plays.
Yeah. And it's funny because Matt Kemp pointed back after he crossed first. So, and it's, first, second base umpire is walking in. Jeff Kellogg's going, okay, well, which one are they going to ask for? Is it first or is it second? He's safe at first. They're showing the replay here up on the big screen. He's safe at first. And I believe that's the one they definitely challenging, because we saw Grandal just come off, like they called Grandal off, and you see that one. So that's a good call there. Albies did a good job keeping his foot on the bag there. He made it look weird because it looked like he went back for a second time, but he was on when he caught it. But here we have a look, and there's Matt Kemp touching first, and he beats that. Funny, they're not even, the Braves players came in off the field, and then the umpires, you know, they went to go check, and they hadn't seen the replay on the screen. And as soon as they see the replay on the screen here, they started going back out there to the field like, yeah, he's going to be safe. I think this one you can really see it. Oh, you could have. They're going to make the call so you can see.
That's what you needed.
Yep.
So it is a fielder's choice for Kemp, and the inning is kept alive. You're talking about being able to look up on the video board and get a good look at it. It is a huge video board here. So they had a pretty darn good look to see that Kemp was safe.
They had a huge one at Turner Field. I don't know if this one's bigger or not. It may be. It's right. It's always got to be bigger, right?
Yeah.
But one at Turner Field was huge too, and it was high def. I mean, this one's high def too. They're both just. That's why you can really see it. Sometimes I'm going, why are you throwing it back to New York? Some of these that are this nice, just look up. You can see it. They probably have a better look.
2 out, and Cody Bellinger stands in. It's Bellinger's speed that led to the errant throw from Charlie Culberson last inning, which opened the door for the Dodgers to plate their first 2 runs. Very athletically gifted guy, Cody Bellinger. It's not just the power. You see his grace in center field. You see his ability to pick the ball at first. And then on plays like that one last inning, just his raw speed. 1 ball and 1 strike. Two and 1.
I think Cody Bellinger's hustle really set the tone for that last inning. I really like that last inning. You get a walk by Kemp. Bellinger hustling, getting down the line. Then there was an error, and then Chris Taylor doing the job, getting a ball, having a productive out, RBI. Verdugo with the infield in, able to muscle one. It was just all around be able to get those 2 runs. And it started with him and his hustle.
Bellinger now hits a towering fly ball to right field that Markakis will settle under to finish the inning. After that productive 5th inning, a little bit quietly, nothing quiet about this swing. Manny Machado's first home run as a Dodger has him in front 3-0.
Monday, July 30th. And welcome Manny Machado to Los Angeles when the Dodgers return home to face the Milwaukee Brewers in a 4-game series. Don't miss the excitement of Machado's debut at home. Purchase tickets today at Dodgers.com/tickets.
And a 10-game road trip for Machado to open his time with the Dodgers. There's a bit of a silver lining to that for him. His wife, Yaini, has already made the trip to Los Angeles, getting them settled in. Here's Acuna with the top of the order, strike one. Their cars are set to arrive tomorrow. And so instead of having to play games and scramble around and get settled into town, that's all gonna get taken care of for Manny before he makes it to LA.
It definitely makes it easier. There's a stress. That's another stress level that you don't always talk about, or people talk too much. Is once you get traded, they're like, all right, here's a hotel for 3 days. After that, fend for yourself.
We were talking earlier about how much he's enjoying wearing Dodger blue. Just lights up talking about the experience that he's having so far. Has fit right in immediately. Of course, it doesn't hurt when you're performing the way that he has, with the exception of a little bit of a blip in Philadelphia. Hill strikes out Acuna for the first out of the 6.
And it doesn't hurt. We touched on it earlier. When you go from a team that you know is not making the postseason to a team that's contending to do so once again, it just went to Game 7 of the World Series last year, and their goal and only focus is to win the World Series, and that's it.
You had Todd Walker waiting for you in Chicago, an old teammate of yours when you went there. Manny Machado has Matt Kemp, who he's close with from working out together in previous off seasons. He'll get strike one on Albies. How big of a deal is that, having somebody who you know?
It helps a lot, because you definitely lean on them to ask them, where do you recommend staying, where's a good place? Actually, you mentioned Todd Walker. I ended up renting a place in the same building that he started the season at. Because you should see the building I'm in. It's great. All the conveniences you need. It's easy to get to the ballpark right downtown. Sure enough, he was right. And then when I signed back, I went back and stayed in that building again. It's perfect.
Ground ball with Albies speed. Taylor's got to get it over there quickly and does. Quick release for out number 2. It's a pretty strong left side of the infield right now, isn't it?
With Machado and Taylor, 2 shortstops over there on the left side of the infield. Great arms, great range.
Freeman, ball 1.
Right now, Machado with the shift, he's out there moving over the shortstop. He's like, huh, back at shortstop. Here it is.
Ball and a strike on Freeman. Two and 1. Waits on it, rolls it to the left side. That's where Machado's waiting. His throw is wide, and Bellinger can't hang on.
Machado comes charging on this ball as you're supposed to. Does everything right, fields it, just can't get it on target. And Belly was going to help him out there. He did a great job coming up the bat, and I think he gets the tag down, just can't hold on to the ball. Machado upset with himself, knowing that he should have made that play. And then Bellinger is upset with himself because you're going, gosh, I could have really helped out my infielder there.
He often does.
Yeah, and he did everything he was supposed to. I mean, that's just unfortunate.
Almost is surprising when
Yeah.
he doesn't make that play, just because he so often does. It is ruled an error on Machado. And it gets Markakis up there with a man on here in the 6th. Now Rich Hill will just try and make sure that it doesn't bite the Dodgers. Facing the National League leader in hits, it was twice flied to right today. On a 1-1, Markakis watches it miss away, ball 2. Three and 1.
This is where Rich Hill really needs to just regroup here. Yeah, he thinks he might have been out of the inning. Fortunately, with that error, got to face another batter. Is where the pitcher could also help that infielder.
He walks him. And the Braves, for the first time tonight, have multiple men on base. First free pass issued by Hill. Tying run to the plate here in the 6th. And it's Kurt Suzuki, who's 1 for 2. Perfectly placed, bottom of the zone, strike 1. How good has he been in these situations?
Very good, and like I said, he's upset with himself that he just walked Markakis that last one. This is where he can really pick up his infielder.
This is one of the things the Braves have done better than anybody. Leading to that almost 5 runs per game, second only to the Cubs in the National League. The postseason started today. The Braves would play in the wild card game. Cubs would be the 1 seed. Phillies would be the 2. Dodgers would be the 3, and it'd be the Braves and the Brewers. Two on, 2 out. Hill's 0-2. Fly to center field. No big deal for Alex Verdugo. And Hill is able to pitch around the air and the walk to get through 6 shutout innings.
spotlight. We go back to the 5th inning. CT3 getting the job done, shortening up with 2 strikes on him, getting that RBI. And what does that do when you move someone over like that, getting the job done? Well, it sets up for this hit by Verdugo as the infield is in. That's how the Dodgers took the lead in the 5th, then added a home run by Machado, and are looking to add some more.
And it's Chris Taylor to lead this inning off. 3-0 against Anibal Sanchez and the Braves here in game 1. Sanchez misses low with his first pitch. 87 pitches into the outing now for the 34-year-old from Venezuela. Ball 2. RBI for Chris was his 19th in July. Places him tied for 2nd in the National League. 2-1. One of the discussions around the cage today was the value of the RBI and just kind of the integrity of that as a statistic and how it's viewed. And Chris Taylor heard somebody say that RBIs aren't as valued as they once were, and he kind of perked up and said, "What? Really?"
The dumbest thing you ever heard? That's how you score runs. RBI means runs are scoring. I know what they're trying. I know what they're saying was not as valued. That's probably the wrong term.
Yeah.
They're probably, you know, when you're looking at, they're trying to say, well, trying to not factor in there's different parts of the lineup that definitely get more opportunities at RBI situations than other part. So, you know, I just think it's just probably the wrong term to use that and not valued, but that's part of the game. And but there's also guys who actually just do better and step up more in those situations than others. That's why I look at runners in scoring position, batting average. There's just some guys who are able to do it, others who actually struggle when there's a guy in scoring position for whatever reason.
Welcome inside the booth, Joe and Nomar. I feel like I'm very close to you right now. Can I slide back here a little bit?
No, you can go. If you want me to come close, we'll even it out. There we go.
Matt Kemp is a guy who's leading baseball with runners in scoring position, and he said he thinks that it is a skill that can be taught, but it's as Alex Verdugo takes a strike, it's a mental skill.
Absolutely. There's no question about it. That's why when you look at it, it is a mindset, and that's why not everybody can do it. We know baseball, mind is everything. You know, they talk about the mental side of the game is such a big part. That's why not everybody is just these RBI machines, guys who can just knock them in. So when we were talking about a little bit about RBIs not being valuable, well, it is. And guys able to knock them in are extremely valuable.
That is thrown away. Verdugo is already on base, and now he's going to get second. For some reason, Albies still pulled the trigger on that throw.
Yeah, I don't know why Albies ended up throwing that ball. I don't know if he was committed and then all of a sudden said, what am I doing? Why am I throwing? And tried to hold up, and it got away from him. But Verdugo was making this easy, and then when he threw it, he was way off. I mean, Freeman was coming off. He knew there was no chance. He was just trying to knock that ball down somehow.
It's a single and an error on Albies as Rich Hill swings away and bounces a base hit into center. Rich Hill with an RBI single, and the Dodgers lead it 4-0. His first RBI of the year. And no chance Rich is hiding his smile.
No way. There's one thing about Rich Hill that we've seen as he pitches. He will try to do something. We see him square around a bunt all the time. We've seen him try shorten up, take maybe awkward swings, but he's really trying to shorten up, just put the ball in play. He is trying to put some pressure on the defense some way, somehow, which eventually putting it on, put the ball in play, and it pays off for him as it finds a hole.
I'm really excited to say these next words. Rich Hill chases Anibal Sanchez from this game. Dodgers baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop ChooseNissan.com. Got to get your popcorn. You go to the movies, you come to the ballpark. Anibal Sanchez is very good through the first 4 innings tonight. Dodgers getting 2 against him in the 5th, 1 in the 6th, and 1 here in the 7th. He hands it off to Sam Freeman in a 4-0 game. Top of the order, and Jock Peterson stays in with the lefty out there and takes ball 1.
Sanchez was very effective throughout this game. He was very efficient, got there. We talked about that 5th. We were showing it being our spotlight of this game. Thought the Dodgers did an excellent job just to get some runs on it because he was really tough today.
2-0. That's ripped to right. Peterson against a left-hander, bangs it to the wall and has extra bases. 2nd and 3rd with 1 out.
We were talking about in Jock Peterson's first at bat how well he's been swinging the bat for the month of July, how well he's been swinging since the All-Star break. And because of it, not only does he move Rich Hill all the way to 3rd, they have to pitch around Manny Machado and they intentionally walk him.
To load the bases up. And such is the conundrum when you're facing this lineup. You decide to put Machado on to load the bases for the guy that leads the National League in OPS. Bottom falls out, strike 1. It's a bit of a slide for Muncy with his 0 for 3. He's now 1 for his last 14. A lone hit, a home run. Behind 0-2. Hill with an RBI single. A Peterson double and a walk to Machado. Oh, 2. Muncy down on strikes. And with 2 out, the bases loaded, here is Grandal. He's continued his great month of July, reaching twice more tonight, walking and singling. Hit his first home run from this side of the plate in Philadelphia. One ball, no strikes. Strike 1. Able to lay off, and he's ahead 2 balls and 1 strike. Chance for the Dodgers to break this thing open. And Remember, facing a potent lineup. Atlanta averages about 5 runs per game, so not safe yet. Hill at third, Peterson at second, Machado at first, and ball 3 on Grandal with nowhere to put him. On the corner, full count.
Comes with the fastball, makes a good pitch. Catching the corner. Now Grandal can just look for his pitch to drive.
All 3 runners take off, and Grandal hits a line drive, base hit to left. 2 runs score. Machado to third, safe. And the Dodgers lead at 6-0 on a 2-out, 2-run single from Grandal.
Well, gets into 3-2 count. Freeman, a little trouble finding the strike zone. Had to make sure that he didn't get ball 4. He threw a ball right down the middle, and Grandal does a good job not missing it. One of the guys who is swinging the hottest bat for the Dodgers drives it to left field for a nice 2 RBI single.
And that's going to do it for Sam Freeman, with Matt Kemp coming up. Peter Moylan coming in. All Dodgers in this one.
Well, on Wednesday, August 1st, when the Dodgers host the Brewers, all fans in attendance can purchase $1 Dodger Dogs. Buy up to 5 Dodger Dogs per person per transaction. Visit Dodgers.com/promotions.
Here's Peter Moylan, 39 years old, out of Australia, in his 12th Major League season now. Spent some time with the Dodgers at one point. First one to Kemp, misses low. One. It's the 3rd stint for Moylan with the Braves. Started his career here. Some really good seasons. Went to the Dodgers, then was shut down because of an injury for a year. Back to the Braves, then the Royals, and now back with the Braves. Just can't stay away from Atlanta. Machado's at third and Grandal's at first, as the 2-1 comes home to Matt Kemp. Floats it to right field. Markakis to the warning track to put it away and finish the Dodgers in the 7th, but they add 3 and we stretch in a 6-0 game. Brought to you by Nissan now shows the upcoming homestand as they work into the final leg of this road trip. 4 with the Braves, and then it's home for 4 with the Brewers and 3 with the Astros. Before the bottom of the 7th, we go down to Alana.
All right, guys, a couple of updates on guys working their way back from the disabled list. Yasiel Puig was set to have 4 at-bats tonight with the Oklahoma City Dodgers. He will then travel to meet the team here in Atlanta. Dave Roberts said he should be in the starting lineup on Saturday. Hyunjin Ryu threw a 2-inning simulated game yesterday. The plan is for him to do another one, a 3-inning sim game on Saturday in Los Angeles at Dodger Stadium. Then he'll go out on a rehab assignment, probably 4 outings to get him built back up.
All right, Alana. Appreciate the update. As Rachill drops in a strike, Charlie Culberson with a different defense around him. Kike Hernandez in at second. Muncy moves over to first. Bellinger to center. And Verdugo to right. So Kemp is out. And plug Hernandez into the 5 spot in the order. Hill home with an 0-2. Gets it by him, strike 3. What a night Rich Hill's putting together. That's number 9.
It's a good way to start the inning, especially Rich Hill did a good job putting up a 0 each and every inning. We've done that all game, but after they score some runs, you really get this first guy out after you just scored 3 more runs in the 7th. You want to be giving free passes. You got a 6-run lead, just attacking the hitter.
Sitting at 90 pitches as he delivers to Johan Camargo, a curve. And home plate umpire Marvin Hudson has kind of been in lockstep with Hill tonight, giving him a couple inches off of that plate on his curveball on more than one occasion. And that fastball, when it's matched up with a curveball, looking like the same to these hitters. Hill's tough, and he's ahead 0-2. Ground ball. They've got 3 men over there. One of them is Kike Hernandez, and Camargo's the second out.
You were talking about earlier the left side with Machado and Chris Taylor. How's that left side look? Then you throw Kike over there. Yeah, that's my recommendation to any hitter. Don't hit it over there if they're those 3 guys are over there.
Back into a traditional setup here for Inciarte. who takes a strike. Guy that knows a little something about good defense. He's won 2 Gold Gloves in center. Former Diamondback, came over in the Shelby Miller deal. Quickly 0-2. Ciarte now in his 3rd year with the Braves. First game in this ballpark. His name is all over the stadium first. He caught the stadium's first out on the first pitch. He got the stadium's first hit. And he got the stadium's first home run.
Where are they going to put his name up?
Right over the word SunTrust.
Gotcha.
To right, and Verdugo makes a catch on that sinking line drive. And quickly, Rich Hill with a 1-2-3-7. Guys in studio for a preview of Access Sportsnet Dodgers presented by your Southern California Ford dealers.
All right, thanks, Joe. Rich Hill dealing through 7 innings tonight. And how about Manny Machado, Jerry, his first home run in Dodger blue?
I love the power from Machado. We all know Rich Hill rakes.
These two guys will break it down after the game. Alana has a reaction from the clubhouse. We'll see you after the game.
All right, guys, Luke Jackson, the latest Braves pitcher, with the Dodgers in front 6-0.
I agree with Jerry. Rich Hill rakes. Everybody's like, yeah, Machado's power? No, Rich Hill.
Cody Bellinger starts the 8th and grounds a breaking pitch foul. Is that the headline tonight? Rich Hill chases Anibal Sanchez over Manny Machado, hits first home run.
Yeah, or the headline is Rich Hill should hit all the time.
I'm down for that.
When they play American League teams, Rich Hill should DH.
Yes. Or maybe the headline is 7 shutout innings.
Move over, Otani. Here comes Rich Hill.
I like that. 2-1. Bellinger's 1 for 3. Infield single. Ahead 3 balls, 1 strike. Three and 2. Cody went from starting to flip the bat to the dugout to just flipping it to himself, to almost conking Suzuki in the head with it. Payoff. Leadoff walk for Cody Bellinger. We were talking earlier about the RBI statistic and probably using the wrong word when we were saying the value of the statistic has been diminished. Really what it probably more accurately is the quality of the statistic as a measure of a player's ability. You know, the value of it in that regard, just because it's dependent on so many other things around you. Strike one on Taylor. That's probably a better way to put it.
Yeah.
Not that it's not a good measure of a player's ability, right? It is still a measure of something.
I still think it's a huge one in a sense where if you have a guy who says, I mean, my whole point is if you have somebody who's hitting 3 or 4 in your lineup and doesn't have RBIs, is not knocking guys in, then he shouldn't be hitting 3 or 4 in your lineup, especially, you know.
Base hit to right for Taylor. Bellinger able to get out of the way of it.
Now I understand too when you like if you have a leadoff guy and you know his value, but he may not have a lot of RBIs, doesn't mean he's not good. So I'm not using, but he's also batting leadoff. I think when you're looking at RBIs and you're looking at, okay, where are they in the lineup, and then they are huge values because you need them. You need somebody knocking in runs, and if a guy has a lot of RBIs doing that, capitalizing on those opportunities, not everyone can do that.
No question.
So,
but to your initial point where you said he shouldn't be hitting 3rd or 4th if he doesn't have a lot of RBIs, what if 1 and 2 are never on base for him?
That they shouldn't be 1 or 2.
Fair. Strike on Verdugo.
Right,
but my point is you can't say that he's not a good 3 or 4 hitter without checking that.
Well, you have RBIs and then you also have runners in scoring position. Are they capitalizing on that? I mean, I think they go together. I think really do you have just a bunch of RBIs and really low batting average of runners in scoring position? That's very rare. I'm not saying it may never have happened, and I'm sure there might be examples out there. I'm just saying that doesn't happen too often. The reason I understand too what you're saying about RBI, like I remember batting leadoff. My 1 year I batted leadoff, I had 98 RBIs. I said I didn't hit 98 home runs. It's a tribute to the guys at the bottom of our lineup.
Driven to left center field, but caught by Enciarte. Runners a hang on.
I thought my 98 RBIs wasn't more of saying what a year I had. I thought it was more telling of the year that the bottom part of our lineup had for me, and I was so grateful for that. So from that respect, I totally get that, and I can understand that.
Night's going to end for Rich Hill as Chase Utley comes up to hit. 7 shutout innings for Rich Hill tonight, and I said 9 Ks. I gave him an extra. 8's not too bad.
He deserves one. Throw one in there. It was a great day for Rich Hill. I mean, just right from the beginning, was being efficient, throwing strikes, pounding the zone.
Ball 1. How about put this way? Looking at RBIs is not always an accurate way to tell a player's greatness.
I can see that. I can see that. I mean, I can understand what you're saying. But a guy who has a lot of RBI.
You don't just fall into that. No, I totally get it.
And then if a guy, you're like, man, he has a low amount of RBIs, I didn't expect that. You're like, well, where did he hit and who did he play for or play with? Okay.
Two and one. So kind of a similar not a similar statistic, but the same realm. Like you said, hitting with runners in scoring position. Would you rather have a guy who has a really high clip with runners in scoring position, or a guy who's driven in an exceptionally high amount of runs?
Well, it also depends on how many opportunities, you know, how's that runner in scoring, that average of runners in scoring position, how many times he's had a chance, you know, compared to the other guy. So, like I said, I understand how they're looking at it. I totally see why they're factoring in, well, as RBI, maybe I'm not maybe the better way is maybe not weighted as much.
Good word. Yep, that's the word. Two on, one out, and a 3-1 count on Chase Utley. Here it comes. 3-2. The slash line traditionally that's given is average homers, RBIs. You're more frequently now seeing average on base slugging, OPS.
But I'll tell you, I guarantee you though, you still look that you're a pitcher and you look at a guy and he has a lot of RBIs, you're going, uh-oh, and especially you're going, he has a lot of RBIs, and if he's coming up with a guy in scoring position, you're going, I got to be careful because he is knocking guys in.
No question. That clips him. He was going to reach anyways because it was ball 4, and the bases are loaded. That's as dramatic as I've ever seen Chase. It was interesting.
Yeah, it did get him. That's what.
Oh,
got his elbow,
I think he
that's
got
why.
the bone.
Yeah.
And that's one of those where it's like, I'm getting first base anyway.
I mean, that's how nice is Freddie Freeman. See him, just give him a hug, like let me give you a hug, right? Because that's one of those that it might have also got kind of maybe just that right spot in the back of your elbow, almost maybe in the funny bone, and it just kind of catches you. Just add to his hit by pitch total.
More than 200 times in his career. Loads him up for Jack Peterson.
More than 200 times, and that might be the first he got a hug at first base.
Which is just a shame. We need more nice first basemen, huh? Strike one on Peterson.
It made Utley smile.
Which is significant. All-time leader in hit by pitches, a guy named Huey Jennings. It's grounded off of the glove and to second. Flip to second is wide. Throw to first is wider. And boy, this has gotten ugly for the Braves. Taylor in to score 7-0. And they don't get a single out on the play.
Hit off the glove of the pitcher, which changed the direction here, but they still should have been able to get the play out at second base. Pulls Culberson off. I don't know if he was trying to rush that, because after the way that ball was hit, he should have just really acted like a first baseman to try to just get one, and then spinning around to try to do that. Don't know what he was thinking there. So I think that's one of those where you're just mentally going, what was I thinking? What was I doing or trying to do on that? And it just kind of turned into a big mess.
Well, the wild throw, the 8th run is in. 8-0 in the 8th inning, and another change. to center. And Evan Phillips comes on to pitch.
Just 3 games this year. You see the ERA, 11.57.
It's Machado, a 2 on and 1 out. The Dodgers up 8-0. His last time up, his first home run as a Dodger.
Gets that fastball that falls over to the inner half of home plate. Takes a beautiful swing, and that was out on a line.
Strike one. Yeah, it's interesting, and there'll be plenty talked about this once the offseason rolls around. But all you heard coming into this year and leading up to this year with this big free agent class, how much is Bryce Harper going to make? Could he hit $400 million? It's going to be interesting to see with the year that Machado's having and the year that Harper's having, which one of those two guys is going to sign the bigger deal? And coming into the year, going back a year or two ago, you wouldn't have figured that'd be a discussion. You knew Machado would make out beautifully, but the great year he's having and the subpar year for Harper that Harper's having makes you wonder. Line to right, Markakis.
Well, hopefully Dodgers will win the World Series. Machado will be with the Dodgers, and then after that he's going to say, I want to stay here, be a Dodger, and keep winning more rings.
2 on 2 out, and Max Muncy comes up. Of course, the natural progression of that conversation is, well, Corey Seager's coming back next year. You have Justin Turner at third. It's one of those things where you worry about it when you get to it, if that's the route the team decides to go. Bono strikes on Muncy.
Yeah, you worry about that later. That's not anything they have to worry about. If these guys want to be here and it works out, absolutely. You've seen all these guys have versatility anyway.
2-0.
I mean, Machado already right now comes over here. He's been playing short all year and told Dave Roberts he's playing third right now. I just want to, what is it going to take for us to win? You need me to move over there? We got an injury? Justin Turner, you got it.
Evens up at 2 and 2 on Muncy. It was 0-0 after 4 innings tonight. Dodgers got 2 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th, 3 in the 7th, and they have 2 in the bank here in the 8th. Muncy looking for more. Deuces wild. 2 on, 2 out, and a 2-2 pitch. Same time, same place tomorrow night. Clayton Kershaw for the Dodgers. Alex Wood on Saturday. And Dave Roberts announcing before the game Ross Stripling will go on schedule on Sunday. Another 2-2. Muncy chases, and that's it for the Dodgers in the 8th. But they get 2 more and lead at 8-0. Brought to you by Kona Brewing Company. A couple of headlines to it. Rich Hill, 7 shutout innings with 8 strikeouts and just 1 walk. So they got it done on the pitching side of things. They've gotten it done offensively as well, including Manny Machado with his first home run as a Dodger.
Really, Rich Hill, this is, I would say, Rich Hill's best performance of the season. Going 7 innings, putting up zeros, not allowing a run. Only 1 at bat with a runner in scoring position. Really looked outstanding out there. It was great, the offense coming through and putting up cricket numbers up there to help them out.
Off it goes to the bullpen and Daniel Hudson. Michael Reed to lead the inning off. You know, in Philadelphia, the Dodgers gave up 6 or more runs in all 3 games. They hadn't allowed 6 runs once in July before that series. The biggest issue was the starting rotation. The bullpen had a sub-2 ERA in Philly when you toss out Kike Hernandez and the 3-run homer that he allowed. Quickly 0-2 on Reed.
And prior to that, starters been looking great.
Yep,
they really have. And Rich Hill got back on track today.
Good day to get 7 innings from your starter. Well, the work the bullpen had to do in Philly. Big performance at the end of the Philly series from Caleb Ferguson going the final couple of innings. Dave Roberts not having to use anybody else. One day, like less than 1 day, hours after the 16-inning game, where everybody was used except for Ferguson. Ferguson had said that he did his best to try and talk Dave Roberts and Mark Pryor and Rick Honeycutt into them letting him pitch during that 16-inning game. That's an opposite field hit for Reed. And here's Acuna. Youngest player in the National League at 20 years old. When he came up, he surpassed their second baseman Ozzie Albies for that honor. Ozzie just 21. Acuna, a guy that made the minors look easy. And through the years, the #1 prospect, not just in the Braves system, but in all of baseball. He hit .432 for the Braves in spring training, but they waited long enough where they get to have him under control for an additional year at the end of the contract. So he'll be a Brave through 2024 instead of 2023 because they waited until late April. So a loophole that we've seen teams use. Most notably recently Chris Bryant for the Cubs a few years back. Reached free agency 1 year later. One and two.
You're talking about how he was looked at as prospect down in the minor leagues and how well he played out there. Look at this just Brave organization, and a lot of talk is about, we were discussing trade deadline. What are they going to be doing? What are they going to look to improve, if anything? Because they have, I think they have 8 in the top 100 prospects. So they're loaded with prospects in their minor league system.
Down the right field line, Verdugo, dead sprint. Look out! Oh my goodness. Good to see him right to his feet. Albeit a little bit gingerly.
Great effort over there by Verdugo, sliding. Ouch. And the other thing too is you look at, you got the padding, but the knee, there's no padding underneath it. And it looked like when he slid, it looked like the right knee got underneath that padding and might have got some of the cement wall there. Effort, ooh, gosh, she went hard. And just because there's padding doesn't mean it's necessarily just really soft. I mean, it definitely helps softer than the brick wall. But there are times even that padding is still, it still hurts. You going that hard, full speed into it. It is good to see him walking around. He's definitely going to need some ice after this game.
Yeah, he didn't break his stride at all.
I mean, there is no territory at the end of the foul line in both right and left field here.
Acuna hammers the ball to left center field to get the Braves on the board.
About how good the relief pitching has been this past series over there in Philly, how good they look. For Hudson, he just leaves a breaking ball in the middle of the plate, and he knew it too. He knew when it was coming out, he knew when it was hit, and Acuna puts a great swing on it and drove it a long way to left center.
So an 8-2 game, still nobody out in the 8th, and here's Albies. Strike one. Those two guys, very good buddies, Albies and Acuna. Right after Acuna signed in 2014, Albies had just signed the year before and quickly became friends in the minor league system together. And the veterans say it's been a really important thing for each one of those guys to have each other where they can, you know, on their own go be 20-year-olds, but both mature enough where they can turn it on at the right time and fit in with the rest of the group too. One and two. Albies more outgoing of the two. He's a natural leader. Acuna quieter, but so comfortable, so steady. Deep baseball background. His dad played pro baseball. A bunch of cousins that played professionally. And Albies down on strikes, one away in the 8th.
Good job by Hudson. Just come back after you give up a base hit and then a home run. Come back and get a strikeout. Hopefully that strikeout settles them in the rest of this inning.
One gone for Freddie Freeman, 1 for 3 today. All-star for the 3rd time and the leading vote getter in the National League this year. Freddie got LASIK eye surgery this offseason as soon as the year finished. He had dealt with blurry vision the last few years. His contacts often bothered him, especially in the drier cities or the windier cities. It really give him a hard time. Strokes one to left center. 3rd hit of the inning for Atlanta. 2nd of the night for Freeman. So he had worn the goggles and the glasses in recent years and had been wanting to get the LASIK surgery done, but apparently eyes continue to change and change shape until around 27 years old. That's what the doctors told him, and wanted to wait until he turned 27 to get the operation done. Much higher success rate for LASIK if you do wait until that age. 1 on, 1 out, Markakis.
I trust the eye doctors.
That's it, yeah. Ball 1.
probably going, I have to wait. I want to see now.
Right. Of course, the end result winds up being a good one. But that's got to be a terrifying thing for a baseball player to go through. Your vision is everything.
No question. That's so many. It's funny when LASIK started to come and you heard baseball players starting to get it, and you would see all of a sudden the change in their batting average and their hits and their numbers start taking off. And they're like, man, didn't know I could see the ball that way.
Two and one. Muscled to short, caught by Taylor, back to first, but not in time. Well, Markakis out number 2, and here comes Suzuki. Freeman runs. Suzuki flies it to short center field. Chris Taylor settles under it and finishes the inning. Braves on the board with a 2-run homer from Acuna. The Dodgers lead at 8-2 to the 9th. And an 8-2 game as this game rolls on to the 9th. Dodgers trying to snap a mini 2-game skid. First losing streak in July. With the Diamondbacks losing in walk-off fashion in Chicago today, Dodgers with a chance to get the lead back to a game and a half. As they send the heart of the order up, Grandal, Kemp, and Bellinger. Or Grandal, Hernandez, and Bellinger. Another good one for Grandal. A hit, a walk, and 2 hits. He's driven in 2. Strike 1. Braves in danger of falling to 5-11 in their last 16 games. The Phillies lead the Reds right now, and so if both scores hold, Atlanta would be 2.5 back. Nationals ahead of the Marlins in the ninth. Looks like they will win. It'll be an interesting race in the National League East. See if Washington finally is able to make a run, or if we just keep having the same conversation every day that they're due to make one and they wind up running out of time. Grounded to first, Freeman.
I think there's going to be quite a few races come toward the end of this season. I don't think we're just going to see teams just running away from it. I mean, what we're seeing in the National League right now, the West, the East, the Central, I mean, they're all close races, which is great. Just makes it fun, and it's going to be really interesting because you see a lot of teams going down the stretch going, I don't want that one game playoff, that wild card.
Kike Hernandez, first time up there tonight. Swings away and bangs a base hit into center. Hernandez snaps an 0 for 15 on the first pitch that he sees.
It's a ball in the inner half. Kike put a nice swing head down on that one to drive it to center field.
Of course, the opposite story from that parity you're talking about in the National League over in the American League, where there is no close division race. Not even the Red Sox-Yankees race is particularly close at this point, with Boston getting red hot and now leading the Yankees by 5.5. 1 ball, no strikes on Bellinger. Do you expect the National League West to go down to the wire?
I think it will. I do. I think the D-backs are going to be around. I think Colorado is one of those that you just never know, especially because it's like playing in the ballpark. You just never know. They're streaky. They get hot, really hot. They go on these runs, and all of a sudden they can get cold. But I think it's going to be one. I think the Dodgers will win it, but I also think it's not going to be the way that it was last year, where down the stretch they're like, hey, listen, we're just setting things up. We're kind of coasting our way through, going in there and getting ready for the postseason. And I don't think it's a bad thing when you have to go out there and you got to compete to the very end.
Two gone for Chris Taylor after Bellinger flies to center. The Rockies went out and acquired a reliever, Soon-Won Oh, from Toronto, formerly of the Cardinals. And the bullpen is where the Rockies invested all their money this offseason, but it's been a complete disaster for them. Ground ball, and it's short. Charlie Culberson feeding Albies to send us to the bottom of the ninth with the Dodgers up 8-2. with it all tonight. 7 shutout innings, including 8 strikeouts, walking just 1. But Nomar, it wasn't just about the pitching for Rich Hill. He also drove in his first run of the season.
Helping himself out. It was one of those, looked like today Rich Hill was kind of telling his team, listen, I got this one, guys. I'll take care of everything. I'll put the 0 up. I'll get the guys out, and I'll knock the guys in. Just all around great game by Rich Hill.
Pedro Baez, second day back in the big leagues and second appearance in that stretch.
When he came into the game, pitched 1 inning, gave up a hit, gave up a run, walk, and a strikeout. Looking to put up a 0.
It's Culberson to lead it off. Strike 1. Got the update earlier, but bullpen pieces continuing to trend in the right direction health-wise. Cingrani and Fields both working their way back. Hyunjin Ryu, positive steps. Not that that's a bullpen piece, but another pitcher who's rehabbing. Julio Urias as well. 5 days before the trade deadline. Perhaps help coming in that regard too. Culberson strikes out on 97, which is riding up by his face for the first out.
See from Pedro, 97 coming after, fastball. Little help from the hitter. I think it's good. It'd be really good to see Pedro be able to have an inning, really 1, 2, 3 inning, just to build his confidence. Always nice, especially when you coming off the DL, especially after giving up a run yesterday.
And we know when Pedro's confident, it's pretty darn good.
Now that is true. I mean, when you can see it when he comes out there. There's not as much shaking off the catcher. When he's not, there's a lot of shaking off. There's a lot of indecision, a lot of stepping off the mound.
Fades that one back in there quickly. 0-2. It'll be that man tomorrow. Fultonevich for the Braves. So you've got a 3-time Cy Young Award winner in Kershaw and a 2018 All-Star. Fultonevich. Good pitching matchup in game 2 of 4 between the Dodgers and the Braves. Cute foul. Fultonevich, somebody that Ross Stripling enjoyed getting to know a little bit in DC at the All-Star game. One of the conversations he was able to fit in between all the signings, all the autographs. Stripling will go Sunday to wrap this series up. Weak pop fly. Manny Machado. 2 up and 2 down. Pretty complete game tonight.
All around, guys, the Dodgers lineup swinging the bat. Dodgers also taking advantage of miscues out there by the Braves. Talking about that 5th inning, I really liked how they were having productive outs, worked on RBIs, doing the little things. Situational hitting was big in that inning. And then obviously the pitching performance, starting pitching, Rich Hill was great.
Preston Tucker pinch hitting. With the Braves down to their final out. And at least for another day, the questions around here will continue. Will the real Braves please stand up? Brian Snitker's team on the verge of falling to 5-11 in its last 16 games after they had the best record in the National League in early July. A lot of people at that point are saying, man, it seems like they're playing above their heads. Is this below what they're going to prove to be as this season wears on? Or is this what they are now? On a 2-0. Tucker takes ball 3. There's a strike. Good timing for a complete team performance for Dave Roberts' club after those 2 losses. What about a 13-14 hour span in Philadelphia? First back-to-back losses this month. That's ripped to right over Verdugo, and he will play it off of the wall. Tucker on his way to second. Verdugo's throw on the money, but he didn't get the tag on him. Heck of a throw from Verdugo, just not quite. And the night's still going.
Verdugo played it well, got to this ball. I mean, this ball was hit hard. And he makes the long throw. And I thought it beat him there. I thought it was all on time. I don't know if it was up the line. I don't know if just CT was just in a position where he really just couldn't get there with the tag. So the ball went up the line a little bit with him, and you can tell by CT3's reaction, but they're going to check on it. Did he get him on there before? So he has to go up the line a little bit, because you kept seeing Chris Taylor going after him right there. He didn't act like he tagged him. He kept going at him even when he was safe. So it's almost like he knew he didn't really put the tag on him, but they're going to have a look. Why not, Ash, just to make sure? But just by his reaction, I would think he missed him.
Alex Verdugo was as big of a pitching prospect in high school as he was outfield prospect. A lot of people preferred him as a pitcher with his low 90s fastball. He's out there watching on the big screen. It's quite the home theater he's got right now, camped out in center field, looking up and watching.
Verdugo, I think he threw in the mid to upper 90s as a pitcher. As we look at that there, I think there's some space there between. You know, it looks like at first like, oh wait, he's got his shirt, but I don't think he gets his shirt. I think there's some space there, and if you think he does, I don't know if it's enough evidence, even if they think it does, to even overturn it. So
now the laces, because it looks like a lace almost might nick him, but they don't count.
Because if they did, then you'd have these guys having these long laces.
I
had a long lace on my glove.
He is safe.
All the angles, and said I think that one will be ruled stands, as if not enough evidence to overturn the call on the field, and you play on.
Michael Reed singled and scored on the Acuna home run last inning. So Baez getting back up there, trying to finish things off, put up a 0. Slider for a strike. 2-1.
Nice pitch right there by Pedro Baez. Great breaking ball. Got to throw 90, just throwing 97 miles an hour with his fastball. That one looking like his fastball. Good sharp late break.
Both strikes he's gotten on Reed have been with that slider. Strike away from finishing the job. Goes back to it. It's lined to center. It's caught by Bellinger. And the Dodgers with a complete performance here in the series opener against the Braves. 8-2 the final.
Great pitching performance by Rich Hill, helping himself out with an RBI. We see Machado's first home run as a Dodger. But overall, you look at it, the Dodgers with 12 hits in this game, scoring 8 runs, capitalizing on some miscues. Just a good game all around.
That does it from Atlanta. The series will continue tomorrow. Clayton Kershaw for the Dodgers, Mike Foltynewicz for the Braves. Very good pitching matchup as they continue this 4-game series. For Nomar, Lana, and the rest of our crew, Joe Davis saying so long from SunTrust Park. Stay tuned. Access Sportsnet Dodgers begins now.